Hey everybody, it's Jeremy from Jeremy.net. I am a comic book artist, writer, creator, self-publisher, and I share my creative process with you online. If you enjoy these live streams, like to get additional bonus live streams twice a month, you can become a Patreon subscriber for as little as $2 a month. Head on over to patreon.com/Jeremy. It's patreon.com/GERIMI. If you'd like to get a free digital sketchbook, work in progress animated GIFs, blog posts about what I'm reading, what I'm watching, what's inspiring me creatively, you can sign up for my free newsletter at substack.com/@Jeremy. And if you'd like to purchase physical copies of my comic books, free digitally on Kindle, you can go to amazon.jeremy.net. They'll forward you to my Amazon author page. So hang on a moment while I stop my cat from chewing on something she's not supposed to be chewing on. Oh. Having one of those mornings where it started off super smooth and then everything I was trying to do kind of went wonky. But I'm here now, and it's been a hot minute since we did some fixing bad figure drawing, and I haven't had a chance to touch any of my figure drawing work from the previous week that I like to go over and analyze, sort of redraw, rework. And so I figured we'd do that today. I did one for patrons, for Patreon subscribers earlier in the month, but I figured let me do one for the public. J.M. Penciller says, hello, is it me you're looking for? All right, that put us back in the right frame of mind. Let's have some fun with this. All right. Amar's in the chat, says a happy Sunday to all. Good to see you, Amar. I saw Herman's already in here. So SourceForge rolled in early. Happy to see all you guys. Happy Sunday. What's good, Herman? Okay. All right. So anyway, I still have not. Okay. It's not like I'm hating on OBS, but I don't really enjoy using it. And I have yet to find a system that works for me where I can have both what I'm drawing and then have a piece of reference up on the screen at the same time. So, and part of the late start in getting going today was I've been trying to set up an additional light off to the side while I draw. Let me turn on another light up overhead. Trying to get enough light in here. And then I thought, oh, well, you know what? Phone cameras tend to have pretty good low lighting. Tend to work well in low light. So I thought, let me try. Oh, that's the other thing. I need to turn these lights so that instead of facing me, they're facing the drawing board. That's a little bit better. But I had wanted to try using my phone. And when I did, the thing I found is that unlike when you're normally using your camera and you can pinch and zoom and move in and out, it just gave me like a fixed camera and it was way too close. And I wasn't able to zoom out and get angles that I wanted, which kind of sucked. So I thought, all right, let me just go back to my normal figure drawing setup. And so you're not going to be able to see the images that I'm referencing, but I've got a board up here behind me. With some of the drawings from the week. And I have to move my coffee someplace, so I'm not going to knock it down. Let's see here. Herman says OBS is like Grimlock. It can be powerful, but it does what it wants to do. Let's see here. Herman says, I don't know. I'm just slowly bouncing back. He said, but that's life, man. I'm here. No, I know. I've been going through sort of a crazy past couple of weeks. Never mind the fact that I'm trying to get ready for tax season. But I always like to go through these drawings from figure drawing class and just look and say, like, all right, what are the places where I don't know what I think I know, what's not working? And believe it or not, I actually skipped the first couple because the first couple of drawings from the session weren't actually that bad. They were smaller, just sort of like 2-minute, 5-minute warm-ups. And I guess, the poses and the drawings were simple enough that there wasn't really a whole lot for me to screw up. It's in the longer poses, which is weird. You would think having more time should equate to better drawings. But more often than not, I find having more time it leads me to over render, or maybe it's just one of those things where I start realizing maybe I'm jumping to the rendering too soon instead of really locking in the gesture. Maybe it's just staring at a drawing longer. It gives me a chance to see more flaws. Maybe I overwork stuff. I'm not sure. But either way, it's something where I end up with the longer poses coming back and revisiting a lot of those, trying to figure out what it is that is or is not working. I see James is in the chat. I see Amar is jumping in here. Let me add Amar to this. How you doing, Amar? I see James.
Hey, what's up? What's up, everybody?
Let's see here. James says, what I like about old Looney Tunes is the expressiveness and tendency to exaggerate. Yeah, Looney Tunes cartoons, Looney Tunes class are they're classics. They're good stuff there. Okay, Amar, you should still be audible, but I'm going to change this so that the figure drawings are full screen, just because when I cut this up for shorts, it tends to keep focusing on my head, which I don't want it to, or it tends to focus on the talking head. So this way we can chat, but it'll keep showing what I'm sketching. So
yeah, what you gotta do.
Let's see here. Let's see. James had brought up Looney Tunes. James, what made you bring up the Looney Tunes stuff? Are you working on some cartooning? Because I know Amar's working on some cartooning. Amar, are you making progress on that animation that you're doing for the 11 Seconds Club?
Yeah, I shared some other stuff I did. I've been working on. I was watching this Slew channel. I don't know if you saw this channel before. It's an artist channel where we having.
Oh, I'm familiar with him. He's amazing.
Yeah,
I love his stuff.
Yeah, artists doing different challenges. I shared that drawing.
Mm-hmm.
They had some exercise that I never done before. I think I might have done it in college though, but it was drawing upside down. So I decided to try it, and I shared that on your Discord. And I said I'll probably do some more because it's a good eye training exercise, and I haven't did many of those in a while. But it's a good eye training exercise. But outside of that, as far as the animation, I'm still working on the background. I know I'm spending a lot of time on that. Probably don't need to really spend that much time on it because it's not even going to be seen for probably more like a second, maybe less than a second. Probably like 6 to 12 frames. So I don't even know why I'm spending all these hours on that background that's only going to be seen for a moment. And the only background is going to probably be seen a little bit more is when the mouse is facing the opposite way, which is facing the building on the front side of the drawing, which is not even at the same angle. So I'm about to end up doing another painting. So I'm thinking I'm spending a lot of time on something that I don't need to be spending time on. But outside of that, yeah, I'm doing some little I'll be jumping around from program to program. I'm using Pencil 2D, and I'm using Rough Animator. They have a version that you can use on desktop. So I'm doing that now, putting the phenomes in and playing around with the animation for that. But I want to try to get something roughed out this week for that, so then I can go into the actual redraw stage to start tying stuff down, because I want to try to see if I can get the animation done this week. So once I get the animation done, then I could go ahead and move on. It says, oh, okay, I guess somebody had joined. They must have jumped
Yeah,
out.
Herman's in the chat. I brought him in, and he was muted for a second. I thought it was just because he was working on his audio. Okay, he's back again. Let me add him in. And Herman, I don't know if you're muted because you want to be muted or whether you're muted because you're got stuff on your side that you're keeping quiet. But you're on here, so if you want me to unmute you, let me know in the comments, and I'll unmute you.
Yeah, so I'm right now. I got to do the right side. I started on the right side. I started adding down the cobblestone. That's why I call it. I don't know if that's exactly what it is, but I kind of didn't want to paint all those damn bricks, but I probably just work on that a little bit today, and then try to lock in a little bit more, and then the background I may have to try to either blur out or do a little bit of detail for that. But it just seemed like it's spending too much time on that for something, like I said, that's only going to be in there like a second, and nobody is really even paying attention to that for the first part. So I guess it's probably seems like it's more so for me than anything, just to finish it. But I'm gonna see, because I still got 15 days left, and I need to get on to the animation part.
Well, here's a question. I think that it's completely fair to do stuff because there's things you want to work on versus doing it because it's what the competition needs. I noticed kind of the same thing too, in that like a lot of the examples you shared, they didn't necessarily have particularly detailed backgrounds. Some of them just had like a soft gradient in the backgrounds. How important is doing the exercise for you to learn versus doing something that actually gets picked by the guys that are running the contest? Does it matter to you about the contest, or is this really more about just you learning?
Well, I think part of me wants to do something that looks professional, even if it doesn't really sell the audience to where they'll pick it and it'll win. I think part of me wants to do that, but then also part of me wants to, I don't know, maybe a selfish thing, and I usually don't try to put ego in it, but to see people look at it and say, oh, okay, not only did he put the time in to make it look professional, but then he also did the acting, and the acting looks, along with the lip sync, looks like something that a professional do, even though I don't consider myself nowhere near professional. So that's why I think I'm spending more time on the character design. And I think in comparison to a lot of the past stuff I did in relation to this, because I've done a lot of other past 11-second club entries, I think these drawings, if I was to share some of the other ones, look a little bit more like they were a little bit more thought out, versus me just picking some random characters that I just drew out, and they look, from my perspective, more professional. That's just my opinion. Anybody else can say different, but
by the way, I think Herman's back on now. Herman, are you functioning?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, cool.
All right, it's just like I was just like listening. I just put it on mute because I was like, just listening.
All right, I just want to make sure it was working on your end. Sorry, Amar.
Continue. Yeah, it was jacked up, but it's fixed. But yeah, sorry. Continue, please.
No, it's nothing wrong with that. I was just thinking too, as far as backgrounds, I'm not more so into the background part of it, because I know the background is not going to be as good as it can be, but I think in comparison to what I normally see, when people put more work into the characters, sometimes one may be lacking and the other one may be stronger. So I was trying to have a balance where the characters don't look too good and then the other stuff don't. So I think the other thing too is my characters look a little bit more cartoony in comparison to the realistic, or the more realistic background where I'm going. So I don't know. right now, I think the balance would be for me is to try to focus on getting the animation part done and making that believable. So I think to put a hard stop on your question, for me, I think just like with the last one I was sharing on your Discord, I think for me the animation, selling the animation will probably be the biggest learning point for me, because yeah, I can learn how to paint better backgrounds and get that, but that all comes with time. I can do realistic backgrounds. I don't have a problem with that.
Mhm.
I can spend more time on it, make sure the perspective and all that other stuff looks good. Spend time on the painting. Yeah, that's not a big deal. The big issue for me is I've started and stopped so many animation projects, even for people that I was trying to help out, like this music video I was trying to help somebody out with, and then this other documentary I was trying to help somebody out with, and my own personal projects. And I'm like thinking about this all this past year, and prior years, and I was thinking, now, even with when I first met you, I was telling you about what I was working on for my
You were doing an animated. You were planning, I think, to do an animated adaptation of the webtoons comic you did, right?
Yeah, and then I was supposed to also have by now all 16 of my issues done, and I plotted it out. Man, that was in 2018. I plotted that stuff out and still sitting there on Google Drive, and I've worked on maybe 3 or 4 of the issues, and I haven't drawn anything yet. And I think, if I just sat down and just knocked it out, I can get it done in less than a year's time. It's just my mind has not been not so much in wanting to do it. It's just how Herman and other people say life.
Life keep lifing.
Yeah, so the life part of it, I was used as an excuse or a reason for me not to do it in the way that I should have been done it, because I should have completed all this stuff by now. But outside of that, I think for me, if I'm going to keep doing any kind of thing related to acting, animation, I want to be able to make believable acting, because the acting, if the acting is believable, then when I start converting my other stuff into animation, I will do that. And then I'm also debating with the whole thing where you got a lot of people doing Sakuga and the Disney style. So I'm trying to figure out, what am I going to do? Am I just going to do some regular animation, or am I going to try to do the Sakuga, or I'm going to do just...
I don't even know what Sakuga is.
Well, Sakuga is basically a lot of the stuff that you see in the...
It's like action.
It's like
it's like Dragon Ball style, where it's just...
Well, it's like the way it's animated. So it's a lot of dynamic shots. A lot of
Naruto style.
Huh?
Well, no, it's like what I guess what I'm about to say. Like, it's like more action oriented. Like, it's like really, it's like they really focus on like the I don't know. It's like, for instance, like if I was drawing a character like Papa, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know how Papa normally would look. He would look like generic, whatever, like that. But then all of a sudden, like, if I had another shot where I'm like, okay, what if I had Papa and Bluto about to face off with each other? And then what I would do is that, when it gets to a point where they're about to start fighting, I will switch the perspective, whatever. Maybe I'll have the camera angle from under Papa's leg, whatever. It'll start getting really, really dramatic. And like, I'll have him, punching, and maybe have the camera like follow him and go do maybe a 360, but it's like all 2D drawing, like you hand drawing all this different perspective and stuff like that to make it come off like, very actionable. It's hard to explain, but it's like when you see it, you see it. I get what Amar's what he's talking about.
Yeah. So the easy answer is like, I was doing those dynamic drawings to share with you last week, Jeremy, when we was talking about dynamic poses. Right. So with the Sakuga, they do a lot of dynamic poses. It's a lot of posing into a lot of dynamic camera shots.
Right.
So when you have somebody standing off, if it was in a Disney form, it was just, they'd be standing there,
right,
and it'd be fluently animated and look more like a human animated, and have some real nice animation. But with the Sakuga, it's sort of like with the anime or the manga. I don't know if I'm saying it right. Books, they may have a pose and emphasize that pose and the expression. They will go in an extreme close up or extreme angle to over express that pose or that way they express themselves, and even to adding action lines, and then when they actually do moves or it has anything that deals with them expressing themselves, they'll use impact frames. So the thing is it's a lot of that going on, and it can get really busy. So it's like with that, you can have exploding stuff going around, the ground changing, a whole lot of stuff moving around the background when they show the action lines to have them animating. So it can get really frenetic. But the thing is with that, that's what more so a lot of I would say the younger people, and they got some older people that like that as well.
Oh yeah, I'm old. I love it, yo. I can't wait. I can't wait to see you do it if you're going to do it. Like, that'll be cool, man.
Yeah, but for the happy medium out of both of them, instead of picking one, instead of saying Disney, because I think if you to pick one,
Kingslow Fitness said One Piece is an example.
Yeah. But if you to pick one, I would say, I wouldn't say it's a medium, but I can't remember the guy name. They think something animation names start with Toro.
What's the robot the kid that's like, I forgot but he was like, he could control like it was a well-known manga anime.
Well, this guy he's really well known, and he actually Disney was his influence. Studio Ghibli, that's what I was thinking of.
Okay.
You mean Miyazaki?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Miyazaki is like he's the Japanese Disney.
Yeah, so that would be a nice thing to do. But I think for me, a happy medium, and I think I expressed this to you before a long time ago when I was talking about the animation. Castlevania, the one that was done on Netflix, was my happy medium, where they had fluid animation and has a little bit of Sakuga in it, but it's not as frenetic as a lot of that stuff. Because to me, a lot of that stuff gets too frenetic and there's too much going on for me to try to decipher. And I know you can figure it out, but it's just too much randomness going on. And I kind of like to have some sort of basis in reality with when I'm doing some of the animation. Even if the characters are not.
That's a good example. That's a good example that you gave too. So
because
Castlevania is dope.
Yeah, I really like Castlevania, and I know he had a lot of influences. I can't remember that. I know it's an Indian guy that was the guy over it, because I saw a lot of stuff, the original stuff he was doing on YouTube as well. But I think that would be a good area if I can do, and it's sort of like it has a comic book feel to it. I don't know if you've seen any of it. Have you seen any of them, Jeremy?
I don't know the guy that you're talking about.
When I'm talking about the Castlevania on Netflix.
Oh, Castlevania! I have not seen it yet. I'm familiar with it. I'm busy drawing. I ain't got time to watch all that.
Man, blasphemy, man.
It's been on for a while.
Gotta watch it.
It's like they had 3 seasons of it already. I thought you at least saw one of them by now, because
I still haven't seen all of Avatar.
Okay.
The Last Airbender, not the James Cameron.
I haven't seen none of that either. That's not really my.
It sounds like it should be.
It's dope. Yeah, you should.
Because Castlevania is more adult. I like more adult type animation.
Hey, Ma, I don't want to cut you off, but like, I'm like, I hear what you're saying, because I know what you're saying as far as like Castlevania, but like for me, like I felt the same way about Avatar until I sat down and watched them. Like, and then when it got down to the point where I think the last couple of seasons, like, because at first it started off really, but it's like it's like they study like actual like martial artists, and they actually put all that stuff in the show, like down to a T. Like they have actual guys that was like doing like the the kung fu and all that stuff like that, and then they was actually drawing. I'm like, it's dope.
Yeah,
Like I didn't think it
you
was that
talking
deep.
about the one that's on Netflix?
The
Not the
animated.
live
No,
action one, the
no, not.
animated.
Oh,
Nah, I'm talking
I'm
about the animation.
talking about the animated ones that was on Nickelodeon. Like
Yeah, I'm talking about they had it on Netflix too, the animated one.
okay,
But what I'm saying is for me, you
right.
got little kids doing airbending, fire
Mhm.
bending, and all other stuff. That's not really something I'm into. I'm more so in the adult theme stuff.
Well, you could
So
do
it's
that.
like, huh?
I said you could do that. It's just I was just talking about as far as like Sakuga, like they like some of those when they got to like when they were having like huge battles, it's looking like Sakuga, like the stuff that you're talking about. Like that's why I was
Yeah,
like, it was
Sakuga. Yeah,
crazy.
but the thing is even though that may be true, it's sort of
Mhm.
like with Dragon Ball Z. I mean, I
Right,
couldn't get into that. I couldn't
right.
get into the Yu-Gi-Oh. You know,
Yeah, me either.
a lot of that stuff was too kiddie for me, especially um, based on what I was used to seeing. And I
Oh
mean,
my
like I
god.
said, I like Akira.
Yep,
I
yep.
like
I have all those.
Fist of North Star, and I like
Gotta get
Ninja
that again.
Scroll. All of those are my top three as far as like animation. All those are more adult theme
I
stuff,
mean,
even though you had kids in it.
I thought you
I,
was gonna
I,
talk more about the style than more like. I mean, I get what you're saying as far as like you like in the like what you like as far as like adult themes. Like I like that too, but I'm like I was like more like into like the different types of animation, like different like them adding like because I mean it's like you wouldn't if I hadn't sat down and watched, I wouldn't even thought that they would have that type of stuff that you're talking because I like what you're talking about. That's the type of stuff that I watch. You know what I'm saying? So and when I was like, yo, this is crazy. Like the animations, like for fight scenes when it's pretty dope.
You
That's
know,
all I'm saying.
Kingslow Fitness also mentioned the idea of too much watching versus doing, and he said capturing the
Right.
Castlevania scenes and then recreating. That actually is, I believe that for the same way that doing master studies
Mm-hmm.
of other artists' work for animation to literally take like just snippets of scenes
Right.
and then capture them and to reanimate the scenes yourself, where just to understand how they move characters through scenes and how they do their blocking and pacing of movement. I think you can learn a tremendous amount
Right.
by doing animation studies.
Yeah, I
yeah,
think I might
I
have to
did
start doing that.
I did a couple of them. I just hadn't finished them. Like I remember I shared with you a while ago. I did the Glen Keane Glen Keane one that I didn't finish. It was the Beauty and the Beast one. I started that one. It started turning out really nice, but that was so long ago. But it was that was one I was doing some of that stuff. I just gotta do more of it. But as far as the Castlevania thing, I think for me to apply that style or something similar, and I understand the whole thing he was saying. Yeah, I was looking at that, but the whole point was you have to actually get to the point where regardless of what you watch and you do, you have to feel comfortable enough to be able to feel like you can do it. So regardless of where you may be at in your head mentally to think that you can do it, you still have to have the physical or the ability to be able to do that. They have a whole team doing that, and I know that they have individuals on YouTube that can do animation like that. And I'm not saying that I have to do a whole 90-minute movie, but the thing is I have to still feel comfortable with what I can do as far as acting.
How many
Because
seconds
the
did you have
thing
to do?
is you can draw the pictures, you can get the poses down and even get the anatomy and everything down to look the way you want. But if you can't sell the acting and then you add the lip sync over it, all you have is a lot of pretty pictures.
Yeah, I got you. But are you? How long does the animation has to be, Amon? Like, what do you?
The animation doesn't have to be long. The point I want to get to is just being able to finish
You can do it.
finish enough stuff to whereas when they look at it, you can feel and tell what type of story I'm telling and what I'm doing. And then when I want to do that and put it into or related to the comic book stuff that I want to do, because eventually, really, in reality, if I had the money, I would just pay people to do it. But if I had to do it myself as a project and say, okay, I need to do this and get this done, I just want to have some stuff to look at and say, okay, I'm confident enough to do this, to tell this story, and it says what I wanted to say in regards to this particular story for these characters that I'm animating. And I think that's so, like, for me, a happy midway to look at it, looking at something like Castlevania, because they do have fluid movement, and they do have a little Sakuga in it without it being too
overlapping and stuff like all that other jazzy stuff. Yeah, that's I get it. I'm like, but what I'm trying to figure out what do you wanna what do you want to present? Like, so like we can figure
well,
out.
just like we got our stories, and
Right.
like Jeremy and you and everybody else is in this chat, everybody got their stories they want to tell. It's
Right.
just I see more people
Oh,
doing
are
it
you
now.
saying you want to do I mean, you said you want to do like a full story? I'm like, are you just, is it like a 30-second clip like you trying to do, and then add like the story, mix it, the animation with it? I mean, that's what I'm saying. Because like, are you breaking it down to the point where you're doing like for instance, like I would, because I mean, what I'm doing right now as far as like when I try to draw like
Yeah, what Kingslow said, I already done that stuff before too.
right, but what I'm saying, like what I do to try to figure out like for like animation movement, like I try to, like when I'm doing like character design something, I draw like a lot of shapes and stuff, and then I draw the character inside the shape. You know what I'm saying? I draw like weird little whatever bubbles and stuff like that, and then I try to fit the person in, like, and then I'm just like, maybe you could probably, I don't know, use shape forms whatever to help animate what you're trying to animate the
That's
shapes, animate the
yeah,
shapes first.
that's not the issue.
Okay.
The issue is not drawing the drawing. The issue
Okay.
is one. And I'm just
Believing
go.
that you can do it, because I think you could do it.
No, one is first thing is clearing your head
Yeah.
of
Okay.
everything else that's going on with you mentally,
Mhm.
and believing that you're gonna be able to
Pull it off.
one, be able to pay your bills and do what you need to do for yourself.
Survival.
No, I
Yeah,
know. I completely understand now.
so
I got you.
that's been most of my hindrance
I
for
got
the past time since I've known Jeremy, outside the time when I was working. Now, when I was working, because I think it was around 2017, 2018, I look back in the post that I had on this thing. So it's been at least since 2017. So back then I was working. It wasn't until 2022 when everything changed. But the thing is I think for me, I didn't take the momentum that I had from finishing a little online comic and using that as a springboard to push myself to do other stuff.
Right.
I think for me, what's always hindered me is thinking about where I'm going to be if things don't go right, versus just taking the moment, like this other artist told me a long time ago. You're going to find another job. You're going to get through what you're getting through. Just focus on your art. And I never took that to heed. But the thing is I think for me, right now, I need to get little wins, not just in my life personally, but little wins in my self doing the little animation. So what I'm trying to do now is, and that's why I started the year off this way, I'm trying to finish little projects that's not going to take no more than a month, maybe a few weeks, and then use that as a motivation factor to say, okay, I did this little animation. So I shared that little running animation that I worked on. I didn't finish that all the way, but I did finish it and submitted it, even though it wasn't completely finished. It was done. So now I'm trying to finish this one, and then this being the third month of the year, I'm trying to get to the point where I can jump up to the other stuff that I want to do with my other projects that I've been sharing with not only you guys, but then also with Jeremy for as long as I've known him.
Right.
You know, Amar, let me ask you, do you think that you were more productive when you had the day job because you weren't worried about bills and survival, and you could just, anytime you weren't at work, you could put you could just put the energy into making what you were going to make?
Sure.
I can say I was definitely more productive as far as doing videos. I was doing a lot of videos because I did maybe about 400 or 500 videos at that time, even though they didn't get no traction on YouTube. I mean, I was doing Twitch videos, I was doing YouTube videos. It was all live. It was not something I put any real production value into, but I did do a lot of videos, and I would say I was more productive there. As far as like personal stuff, I would say yeah, to a degree, because mentally my head was in a different place. It still wasn't where it should be. I think that, at that point it may have been just confidence, and not saying that confidence is an issue now. I just think that again, we put a lot of roadblocks in front of us, even though when there may not be any. So I just think now, me getting those little personal wins, and then also focusing on getting these little side animations done, and then improving on those to where I believe that I can do believable acting, because I think that's the biggest thing with anything with animation is not so much just the moving frames, is the acting part. So I think that's more or less why I've been bringing that up when I was talking to you more so recently, Jeremy.
So have you already excuse me, like have you already done like your what's it like, I guess the scene that you're gonna act out, like, have you ever shot like video footage of yourself doing that already, like
no, I didn't do any video footage because I did it like a little mock-up, 2 mock-up storyboards.
Okay.
I
But you gotta act it out though, right? You can act it out.
Yeah, I mean, I can act it out.
Yeah.
That's the thing is I'm not the acting, marrying the acting with what you want to do. Drawing, a lot of times that doesn't sync up one-to-one to me, because I've acted out a lot of these 11-second club animations that I worked on in the past, and the acting versus the drawing doesn't sync up to me, because the acting that I see generally in the videos, especially the ones that win or the ones that people notice, is not the same as like acting that you do in front of your camera. And Jeremy probably know what I'm talking about. It's like a lot of acting is, some of it can be subtle, but a lot of it's overacting. Because a lot of times when you
that's one thing I hate about, like, cut you off, but like one things I hate about Disney, like Disney stuff, which is and which I mean I like some 3D stuff, but like I don't really watch a lot of 3D stuff for the simple fact that like it seemed like everybody all went to the same school. Like nobody's on, and that's why I kind of gravitated towards more like for like 3D stuff, like what was the Spider-Verse style, like some of the stuff they're doing, because like for some reason, like Disney stuff, every Disney Pixar stuff, their characters have the same expressions, the same movement, the same, like, when they express themselves, when they smile, it's like the same shit over and over again. I'm like, and I'm sick and tired of seeing that. Look, you got to do something different, man. I mean, I don't mean to like go off of what you was talking about, but like just like, yeah, just I don't know.
Yeah, Kingslow Fitness said that manga acting style out is simple most of the time.
Right, it is.
I mean, for me, because here's the thing: when Amar, when you had shared a bunch of videos from the 11-second club, and I was looking at them, I felt like a lot of them did have kind of overacting.
Yeah,
and I mean, it's a matter of finding the style that communicates what is good animation to you. I mean, here, let me put it this way: if you do something just to win a contest, but the style isn't what you would want in your own animation, then it's like, well, was it even worth doing? And I guess what I'm trying to get at is, does the style of acting that they do in those animations, is that the style that you would want in your own films if you weren't submitting it to a contest?
Well, I look at it like this, and this is to answer your first question, no. But then I also look at it like this. I look at it sort of like how when you learn how to draw a figure drawing, or when you learn how to draw, you have different schools that you have to learn before you can actually stray away from that. I kind of consider the Disney method, or the method that Andrew Blaze do, which is the Disney method.
Aaron Blaze?
Yeah, Aaron Blaze.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
So I kind of consider that as the rubric. So once you can do that convincingly, because I seen another animator that I think I shared this video. I can't remember his name right now, but I have to look it up. But he did that type of animation as well, the WB stuff and all the other stuff, and then he moved over to manga. I think for me, it just, once you can do that convincingly, then you can actually go into doing the stuff that strays away from it. I kind of consider that the same thing as, like, once you understand how to draw something and use the proper construction to do it, and you can sell that convincingly, then you can move over to doing the very dramatic and over exaggerated stuff, because then you can see and understand how stuff should move to the point where you can do it in the way that you would like. And I'm pretty sure that a lot of people, I understand what you were saying, Aaron, as far as like it looks the same, but for me, I think that it's sort of like a standard, because the thing is, I see a lot of people that try to start out drawing, and I've seen a lot online where they start out drawing manga stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
They don't even know how to draw. They don't even know how to draw a human, and it looks so distorted. And
that's what I was going through.
And then people look at it, and they may get a lot of attention on it or whatever, but it may look like crap. And the thing is in their mind, it may look good until somebody tells them. And it's just, the thing is I wanted to learn how to do that method and understand how to do that method, and then go over to the other method, because I think it'll be easy to easy to move over to doing that type of stuff. But to answer your question, yeah, I'd rather do the other stuff, but I feel like in order for me to do the other stuff, I have to understand the traditional way, which you learn in the key of the what's that, the Key of Life? Is that the Key of Life book? I can't look. I gotta go over there and look at the book.
Illusion of Life.
Illusion of Life book, and then the other book that
I have that one. Richard Wright.
No, that's
Richard Williams book.
Richard Williams. Yeah, you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have that also. Yeah, those are pretty good books. But,
well, I know that you're trying to put together a body of work. What do you consider, like, you said you want to get a couple of pieces, some easy wins. What constitutes a finished chunk of work? Like, if you said I want to get 5 pieces, like as simple wins, what constitutes a piece?
Well, I would say a solid. So I see a lot of times you see people that animate online. They do like a year thing where they say what they did in 2026 or 2025, and they have like a little animation reel. Well, for me, you see a lot of incomplete stuff when you look at a lot of those. You barely see finished stuff unless you have professional animators that do it. For me, I can constitute a finished piece, whereas you actually went through all of the steps to get it done, and it actually has, even if it may not have a score or have like a lot of other stuff, where it looks like you went through all of the steps to finish it. And it doesn't have to be like 10 or 5 or 10 pieces. It can be like 3 to 5 pieces that are really solid. Whereas when you look at it, you can see that the acting is good, that like it's part of a bigger project or part of a finished project. And it looked like something that, whereas if I wanted to say, oh, I want to use this to get more work, or use this as a way to tell people that, yeah, I want to do this as my own project, and I understand what it takes to do this for an animated project or something related to animation, because I have this body of work that I've completed.
Yeah, but is it a matter of doing a simple one shot, like if whatever the reel is made up of, if you were to say what is one of the pieces of that reel, would it be one shot that's black and white but cleaned up line animation of a gesture?
No, it would be actually rendered out animation.
So you want
Where
like a finished piece of rendered animation.
yeah,
I mean,
series.
that sounds like a lot.
Yeah, I know that, but I'm just feeling like, you know, you gotta look at it.
He wants. I get it. You want it to be perfect, yo. I get it,
Well,
man.
I
Like,
don't have to be perfect. What I'm saying is, it has to be something. Whereas, if you say you've been around, it's like if I told somebody how long I've been around animation, and then they look at what I did, they would probably look at that and like, okay, you basically are a joke. So I want to actually finish something where, you know, it's like if I said I've been around this, I understand it. That looks like I understand what I say. I understand, and then I can have enough pieces where it doesn't have to be a whole lot. It can just be 3 strong pieces. Whereas even if it was a 30-second to a minute long, if I was to put it all together, it's like a minute and a half. As far as like a recap, they can look at that and say, "Oh man, that's really solid work." And then, you know, people can look at that and say, "Okay, well, you know, he can work with me on this project, or I believe that, you know, he can finish this project. Let me support what he's doing," versus me just saying stuff all the time and never having anything to prove it.
Well, I mean, what I'm trying to get at is that the
I think you're being too hard
real,
on yourself, man.
the
Like, for real.
real of
I
a
hear you though.
the real the real of a storyboard artist is going to be different than the real of an animator. So it's like the real of a storyboard artist might be, you know, all rough sketches, but it really will tell a finished sense of story. Whereas somebody who's the real of an animator, I could see them having a reel of finished animation, but even if it wasn't finished animation, if it was a reel of just black and white but cleaned up fluid animation, they're two very different things, but both are completed reels. So I'm wondering what is the what you decide to make should be influenced by what is the purpose of what you're going to use it for. Like, why are you trying to show that you're an animator? Are you trying to show that you're a storyboard artist? Are you trying to show that you're a storyteller? Are you trying to show that you're a producer?
I'm trying to show that I'm an animator that knows how to tell a story, a convincing story. That also is somebody that can do comics. Because I mean, look at it like this. Whereas if you said, okay, I've done these 3 books for my series, for the Lucifer Morningstar series, and I said, you know what, now I want to animate it, but in order for me to maybe get funding or to get maybe this company to maybe turn it into this animation, I want to do a couple short animations that may be like 30 seconds to a minute long to help sell what these stories is about, and I want them to be convincing. Whereas I sit down and I actually do the animation for it. That's what I want to have. So like how you were saying, I don't know, that maybe a year or two ago, where you say you should do like trailers for each of the ideas that you have. So I was like, I want to have something whereas if I have all these ideas and I say, you know, I want to sell these ideas and get them copyrighted, of course, and say I want to sell these ideas, I have something more than just images and more just me talking. They can look at this reel of stuff and say, oh man, these ideas look really good, and they look like they was fleshed out. And even if they were in comic book form, they will have some animated visual to it that you can then take it and move it into live action or whatever. But I just want something to validate this time that I've spent around this stuff. So like how if I said I was a painter and I never painted anything, and then I say, okay, well, I want to paint something to show that I learned this stuff and I understand it, and something is good enough to validate that I know what I'm saying versus just talking stuff.
The reason why I'm digging the root of the questioning is because it feels like the description of what a single piece, like of whatever the reel is going to make up, if it's going to be made up of 3 pieces, 5 pieces, however many pieces, the description of what a single finished piece looks like or is, it sounded vague. And I feel like the vagueness of not knowing what a unit of 1 is, not knowing that, I feel like that's part of the reason why you haven't finished anything.
It's because there's no goalpost. There's no this counts as a one to finish it. And knowing that you're just sort of working on something and maybe the animation isn't right, or oh well, I've got the animation down, but I still need to color it. The fact that there's all these different things, as opposed to saying a finished piece is a 10-second piece of fluid animation with full color and ink. Whatever you're going to make those boundaries are, I feel like firming up the description of that will help you get to finished pieces.
Well, I will use this as an instance, so we can get to a period on that. I will say, let's say for instance, the Maggie Meets ones I was sharing, that's part of the 2-sentence horror stories that I've written, the 25 stories plus that I started like 2 years ago, or whatever. That Maggie Meets one, let's say for instance, I take all that stuff that I did with that, the character design, all that, and I say, you know what, I want to put together a pitch, and I want to be able to sell my ideas to Blumhouse or whoever. I want to create a series of animations that I can put on YouTube or wherever, and then sell it via using animation versus having to pay live actors or whatever, and then get enough of those, maybe three solid stories done, because they're only like a minute to 2 minutes long. Get those done where they look, the way I envision them to look, and then have those finished. That would be a real in regards to the horror stuff, that because I like horror, and horror be something that I would like to sell as well. So sit down and do the animation related to that, and be able to sell the acting and sell all the other stuff that I want. I don't know if you can get away with a lot of the violent stuff. You probably can on YouTube, but that they have in horror movies. But that would be the idea that I would do, because I got at least.
You can restrict your videos to 18 and up.
Oh yeah,
you don't have to make every single video is just like a normal public video. You can make videos like with the Cartoon Kayfabe. There were some videos where they were looking at some comics that were really graphic stuff, but they could go in there and just check and say this one is not for viewers under the age of 18.
Right.
Oh yeah. I'm familiar with that, because I know that that guy Meat Canyon got a lot of this stuff demonetized because this stuff is definitely not for kids. And I think the channel that I can't remember the other one, it's another animation channel that he sort of like rise with too. They do a lot of stuff that's not for kids as well. But yeah, I get what you're saying. It's just that's sort of like my inroad. I think for now, just finishing some stuff and stop.
Yeah,
with the hard topic.
I understand, like, yeah, man. But at the same time, I feel like, still give yourself grace, man. I think you'll be able to do it. You'll do it. Just, like you said, you're gonna say, just stop doing this. Just do it. You just do it, and do it when you can do it. Like, just don't, it's like, stop trying to. Because I'm like not trying to press anybody. Like, I'm like I said, I'm glad I'm even here. Like, just to like to feel like I want to even start drawing or creating again. So I'm like, in due time, I think, you gonna be able to do it. You're gonna knock it out this time. You know what I'm saying? I believe you will. Just give yourself grace, yo. Like,
and I look at it. You look at the one, the film that I shared, that the story reel on your channel as well, that Aaron Blaze did. It took him, I think, 7 or more years to get this Snowbear done.
Yeah. And I was watching them every time when he was doing it, I was watching it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
he's a professional animator, and it took him that long to get it done.
That's why I was like, just like if that's why I was like, if you just did like something, I don't know, maybe 30 seconds. Cause like it's one guy's the guy Adam Phillips. He did like special effects for like Disney, like in Australia or something like that. He was like, he's dope. He does like something called Brackenwood, I believe. If I can find it, I'll post it to you. And he did like all his little animations with and the only reason why it stood out to me because he was using Flash, but Flash is like limited, as far as like the vector graphics and stuff like that. But like what he was doing, the way he was painting like his backgrounds and stuff like that, like he was using, obviously he was smart enough, he knew color theory and stuff like that, but he was making his backgrounds and these effects and stuff. in Flash, and I'm like, how is he doing this? It looked like Disney painted backgrounds, but like, but he was doing it with the how vector graphics is, you know. And now he's like, his channel's a little bit bigger now. Like he's been doing it for years, and he got like a channel where you can just sit there and watch him. I think it's a Twitch channel now. You can just watch him while he's like working on, like he made like I think trying to make a video game of his characters and stuff like that. I mean, if I could find the stuff out, because I had his I was on his FX animation page like some years ago, and I was learning how to do some of the stuff. Like, so I believe me, I get what you're saying. That's why I was like, yeah, I know, like you could do this. You got to break it down in some way that is like doable for you, and to the point where you can like I don't know, like appreciate it. Because I mean, I don't think it has to do with anybody. I mean, I get what you say. You want people to like what you're doing, but I just think you got to get to a point where you got to do it where you like it, and once you like it,
it's not so much the people liking it. It's more so me believing that I did what I wanted to do, what I envisioned, because there's a lot of stuff that we draw or we try to do that we have a certain vision for, but we just can't.
I know.
So
I go through it all the time, like for real. Like I'm trying to draw horses now. I'm like, I can't draw. Yeah, like from looking at Jeremy's books. I was like, yo, I can't even draw horses. But like what I'm doing now is like I'm making characters up that have like I'm using human anatomies, and I'm adding like I'm making like Minotaur type men. You know what I'm saying? Just to get the understanding of like how a horse looks. So I'm like, I'm still, like I said, I'm still working. I'm still coming up with concepts and stuff like that. Still haven't really worked much on my my horror story yet, because like I said, it's been a rough couple weeks. I had like, man, it's I had like electrical, like I found out that I had like electrical current running through my sink in my house, only because we had like a leak in the sink. I'm not sorry, like a drain issue, that the water wasn't going down. I found out, my mother wasn't telling me, but like I found it out, and I was like, okay, so I got a plumber come out there, and like, yo, like the we had 120 volts running through our sink and through our walls and stuff. Been like that for 30 years. 30 years, yo.
Were you getting shocked?
No, and then my mother was like, by the grace of God. I was like, I was like, yeah. It's like, so when the guy came, he was just like, yeah, he was, because what happened was the guy came in, he was doing to fix the drain. He went through the top, couldn't try to snake it, and he went through the bottom. He kept saying, ouch, ouch. And I'm like, yo, what is going on? Because I was already mad, because like, this dude is like, come on. I said, you wasting our time. Like, we've been waiting for you all day to get here. And it just seemed like he wasn't doing work. So I thought he wasn't trying to do the work. Come to find out, he was actually really getting hit. And then the guy came, and the technician and the electrician came. He was like checking it. He was just like, yo, like, yeah, man. He said, yo, he ran the little buzzer, and he go beep, beep. Like, he was running up our whole back wall, like the sink he left on the sink. I remember he went downstairs, and he was like with the cut off the breaker and stuff, and like, yo, and then I swear, and then the light went off. He was like, yo, he said, yo, you got 120 volts running like through like your sink, this whole wall, back wall. I was like, yo, we like, and the thing about it, because we were just being safe, you don't put electricity near water. That's the only reason why we made it for 30 years, yo. It's all what it took. It's so I get it. I get it.
So Jeremy, I had put a little post on your thing after I saw the little video that I was telling you about by Slew. And I did like a little sketch while I was watching them of this little African. I think this is a girl, like a little girl. And she has like this. I don't know which tribe it is, but it looks so like the one. I can't remember the name of the ones that look Asian. But I put it on your public live stream. Which challenge for you? Which challenge for you? Which is a challenge? I missed. I should. Let me change this. It's supposed to have been. Which challenge for you? Which is the most challenging for you as an artist? Is maybe that's why nobody responded to it. But I was trying to ask, like, as an artist, which is the most challenging for you? Is it upside down portraits? It's non-dominant hand portraits, single line portraits, or if you guys never done any of that before. So I just posted it on there because I don't know, never usually do polls. I think I may have done one other poll on my channel, but I was just trying to ask that question. I don't know if you guys have done any of this stuff before. Have
Do
any of
you
you guys?
remember when I started posting videos of me redrawing my figure drawings upside down?
Really?
Yeah, because it
No.
fixes. Okay, the you know that whole. I noticed that you see proportion differently. So the whole thing is what I'm doing right now is I'm just taking
trying to get them cakes right. I see it.
but there's a big, well, you know what, here, let me switch back to the big camera real quick so you guys can see what I'm seeing, which is so this board, this is like an 18 by 24. So this is too big for me to have side by side while I'm figure drawing. But you know, this was a drawing I did of the model in class. Didn't like how it came out. The hand was horrible. So then I did like sort of a larger detail drawing of just the hand. But what I started doing is I would take these drawings and instead of redrawing it like I'm doing now, I would turn the whole board upside down and I would redraw it upside down. And you will be surprised how much you will learn about proportion by taking a drawing that you want to fix. It doesn't look right. The same thing is when you look at something in Photoshop and you flip the canvas or Krita or whatever digital program, when you flip the canvas and you're like, oh, that arm is too wide, or, you know, this part's too long, looking at how the things don't line up. When you take a drawing and you look at the upside down version, it changes everything.
Yeah,
and flipping things like from different sides, like in Photoshop, stuff like that. Yeah, it does.
Yeah. So I will say, in terms of the question you were asking, Amar, I would say drawing with the non-dominant hand for me is probably also equally difficult. But
so out of the three, which one do you think is the hardest though? Is the upside down, the non-dominant hand?
Hold on.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Difficulty doesn't matter to me.
Okay.
What matters to me is what actually helps me become a better artist. And I think that I think that it is useful to practice with your non-dominant hand, you know, just God forbid anything happens in terms of your drawing ability, but drawing upside down, taking an existing drawing or taking your reference, putting it upside down, and then drawing the image upside down, that makes you better. It hands down improves your sense of proportion, and it improves your ability to observe things as they really are versus how we imagine them in our heads. So if you asked me, regardless of which one is the harder challenge, I would hands down say, do the upside down drawing, because that one actually, regardless of difficulty, it makes you a better artist. The other ones, maybe it helps, maybe it doesn't. I can't speak on that. But I can tell you that taking your reference and drawing it upside down makes you better.
Yeah, well, I agree with that because, like I said, I hadn't done it in a while, but I know I've done something similar. I can't remember the challenge that I did, but I know I've done something similar, and I know that it helps you see things differently because I know I've drawn with my non-dominant hand before, and it's not as hard for me to do stuff with my non-dominant hand, even though I have a lot of practice with it. I was able to draw stuff with it. And I think single line is not hard at all, but I think the upside down is the most challenging because you have to see things inverted in two ways. Whatever is on the left is probably on the right, depending on how you flipping it. And then it's also flipped another way. So it's like flip two ways. Instead of flipping it up, like some people may flip it directly upside down, but if you flip it both ways, where it's flipped to the left and flip upside down, then that's even more challenging because that's how I was drawing this picture of this person I put on your public live stream. And I was trying to put their left side of their face on the right side of their face on the left side.
Okay, I understand. Now I understand. You're talking about looking at an image and then flipping it in your head.
Yes.
And flipping it horizontally and vertically in your head.
Yeah.
And that is very, very difficult. But what I'm saying is doing it in your head, I don't know if that helps as much as actually doing it with the reference and then just trying to draw the reference.
No, I was drawing a reference. I was looking at the
Okay.
reference on another screen, and I was drawing it upside down in Sketchbook Pro. So I was trying to draw. Oh, go
But
ahead.
is the reference also flipped?
No, it's facing the way it's supposed to. It's on your Discord channel.
Okay, well, the reason why I'm asking is because when you are observing, when you're directly observing a model and they're in a position like this, and you draw them, our minds, for some reason, we think we have the proportion right, and we'll make it a certain proportion, and then later on we realize it's off. We think that the shapes are a certain way, or that the form turns a certain way, and then later on we'll analyze it, realize that it's off. If you look at the reference and then you mentally say, I'm going to flip it horizontally and across, just by the fact that you're drawing now you're kind of drawing out of your imagination, it is a good exercise for understanding basic forms. It's a good exercise for teaching your mind to look at shapes and volumes. So I'm not saying that it's a bad exercise, but taking the reference itself, and the same way that you would just draw it normally, but to take the reference and flip the reference horizontal and then flip it vertical and draw the reference, you're still doing the same thing where you're drawing what you're looking at, but having the reference oriented in a way that you are not used to, that improves your powers of observation, because all of the flipping that you're doing mentally, while it helps you with primitive shapes and saying, okay, this is a cube this way, and now it's a cube that is this way, it's good to develop that skill. But this, doing it in your head, is just as much subject to the proportional flaws, the observational flaws in our brain, as it is as drawing a person in real life and making those same mistakes. And what I'm saying is, changing the reference, it sort of breaks those observational flaws, and it forces you to see things in a way that it makes the flaws, it makes your observations more apparent in terms of what you think you know versus what you really know. So I'm not the exercise that you're talking about. I agree, it's really, really powerful, but I would also try, just as a standpoint, you might think, oh, well, this is easier, and then you try it and they're like, it is easier, but why is it still not coming out right? That's what you want to fix. You want to fix the why is it not coming out right.
Yeah, I think the reason, I don't know why I chose to do it that way, but I think for me, I don't know if that's what they were doing in their challenge, but I think most people are just flipping it upside down. They just drawing it upside down. In my mind, for some reason, my mind was flipping it upside down, and then I was looking at it right side up, and then drawing it upside down, but I was inverting it. So that's what my mind was doing when I was drawing it. I was trying to draw the left side of the face on the right side upside down, and I don't know. This is maybe my weird way of approaching it, but after I did it, I looked at my drawing, and that drawing looked way different than the original photo, but I can see the areas where I can improve on it, as to do with proportions, and then how I'm seeing the things in it. It's just something I have to do more often.
Well, no, I mean, that's why it's not like I'm saying, oh, it's a bad exercise, don't do it. But I've noticed that for me, when it comes to flipping a drawing and drawing it in a different way, that was sort of the more powerful, more useful. Like, I could visually see how it was helping me fix a drawing problem that I had. So,
yeah.
Well, you know what? Here's a question, and this came up in the Discord because I was, I had left that comment for for Vaughn, how much does going to life drawing in person? When was the last time either of you guys did that?
Like since I was at Micah, since I was in art school, I had like probably 20 something more years.
Because that was the thing that, like, you know, the whole idea of there are no shortcuts, and Amar co-signed on this. I kept saying, people keep asking how to get better, and I'm all, life drawing is the shortcut. All you have to do is go into a room with a model, draw the model, they change pose, you draw the next pose, and you just do that for a month of doing it once a week. Do it for 3 months. That's it. That's the shortcut. And for some reason, no one wants to do it. I don't know why people are so hesitant to go do life drawing.
Well, for me, I'm not against it. It's just the thing is I haven't been part of that art community in probably since the 90s. And and there are certain areas in my city where I live at where you have to actually seek out to try to find that figure drawing classes, unless you're going to go directly to the college and pay for it.
Right.
So for me, most of my drawings has been like comic book characters, or if I draw anything, it'd be like me seeing people out in public drawing them, but it won't be it hasn't been any figure drawing. Now I do have another artist friend that I know that's professional. He did that all the time. He would actually hire models and have them come to his studio, and he would actually do what you're talking about. The thing is, if I had a better, I'd say, living arrangement or a situation, I'd probably do something like that and just pay the model to come and then pose and then just do something like that versus having to go to an actual studio. That would be probably a place that'll probably be a better situation. Then you can pay them based on the session and then be done with it. But no, I haven't been to nothing since, like I said, since the 90s, which is horrible. But you know, but I totally agree. I co-signed it because I learned, like I said, I learned the most when I was doing that.
Well, I mean, the whole having to go out and find a place to do it, that is true. But I feel like everywhere, like, I don't live in a major city. I live in a rural area now, and there's still a local art center where they do, you know, life drawing actually, they do it more than once a week. They have one that's for life drawing, and then they have one that's just for portrait drawing and painting. So some people go that draw like the nude figure, and some people go for the clothed session where it's just a person sitting so that people can paint portraits of them. And that place handles finding the models, scheduling the models, and then you show up whenever you can, you pay your fee, you work from the model, and that's all it is. And I know those are available definitely in major cities, but even in rural areas, there's a place where you can find life drawing. So, you know, I have to tell you that if you're too busy or you don't feel like spending the money, I get it. But they're there. They're definitely there. I know that you guys probably have more access to it. Like,
well, I know I do. I'm just saying, I don't even want to. Yeah, I don't even want to go back to that school. So I'm just.
But what I'm saying is, I'm telling you, even besides the particular school that you went to, if you just do a search for, because I'll tell you that when I lived in LA. Yes, there were artists who would run it out of their house, but they would let other artists come in, pay for however long, and they would just have a room set up, and the model would pose, and there'd be like maybe 8 to 10 artists in the room working for them one day a week. So I'm telling you, the one school that you attended that you had that bad experience with is not the only place in your town that you can get to conveniently where you could do figure drawing once a week. If you just do a search for your zip code and life drawing, you'll probably find 3 to 5 sessions, different days of the week. You find which one fits your schedule, and you go and you do it. But you know, that one school is not the only place. They ain't got you live in too big a city.
Yeah, they have. I just searched on there, and like I said, I haven't done this stuff in a while, but I used to go to meetups. I just searched on there. They got a meetup that I don't know if it's still happening, but it has over 6,000 members. It has a meetup every, what's it, 3 times a week, Tuesday, Wednesdays, Thursdays, 7 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. So that's kind of late for me, but it's kind of northwest of where I live at. It's $20 a person. So that's kind of cheap. But they're still cheap like how they used to be a long time ago, from what I remember. But a lot of them. I live on the south side, southeast side of Chicago. It's hard to find a lot of that stuff. But a lot of times on the north side of Chicago, I'm not using it as an excuse, and they're still relatively inexpensive as far as the cost. It's just going to it, and then you got to lug all the art stuff around. Right now, I'm not driving, so I think once I'm able to drive again, maybe I can start doing that again. Because I look at some of the other places, they're a lot more expensive because they're holding classes. Anytime it's a class, it's going to be more. If it's just, you know,
do you still have your art board like when you went to school?
Yeah, I still have all that stuff in storage.
You want to know what's funny? So I just bought a new artboard a week ago.
Mine's sitting right in here.
Because here's the thing: the artboard that I've had since college, that's what's up here.
I got 2 of them,
and the handle broke off.
Like I made mine. Off. Yeah,
and I got to the point where I was like, oh, well, it doesn't matter if the handle broke off because I can just hold it by the frame. And then one day I reached to grab it and another piece snapped off of it. And I'm like, oh, I better get
my size was always it was 22 by 30. So I think my board is like just a little bit bigger than 22, but not by much. So I can put my paper on there and I can put the rubber bands, whatever, and if I was going out in the rain, I would just bag, put a big trash bag over. It was easy. So like in case if I was in a situation like that, I always had like my stuff in my backpack. I had like enough charcoal and stuff like in a little tin or something like that, pencils and stuff like that. It was just I made a little thing like that for me right now, but right now I just have so much other junk in my backpack. I can't take that stuff to work, because I'm doing security. But like when I go back on, I'm deciding probably to go back on my little kung fu journeys, whatever. I used to pack up like my art and stuff like that, and just go somewhere in the mall somewhere and just go sit and draw, or go downtown somewhere and just sketch. It's been a long time since I've done that. I know it used to feel good when I was doing that shit. So I'm like, maybe.
See, that's the other thing.
To do.
Like, one, people resist. People who want to they're like, I want to get good. I want to get good. I'm like, go figure drawing. It's like, nah. But that's the thing is, one, that is what makes you better. Right. 2, it's fun. Like, it's enjoyable. It relieves stress. And
it's been a minute. Like and just thinking about it, I remember the feeling of just being able just to be free. I mean, at that time, I was living off financial aid. You know what I'm saying? Like when I was in school. Now I'm paying real bills, real stuff, paying getting things fixed and stuff with very little bit of money I have. So like it's a lot different. So I can understand situations when dealing with that type of stuff now. But yeah, I mean, hopefully I can get back on track and get back on, I can start doing that again. But right now,
I don't have any issue with figure drawing. It's just I hadn't got back around to it, and I know every time from my experience, it's they do have like a cultural art center around where I live at, but most of the time when I used to do that, when I was more so into it, like I said, like in the 90s, maybe early 2000s, but more so 90s, I would be in that area of town. And like I said, I don't have no gripe, no reason not to do figure drawing. I never disliked it. I always liked it. It's just I hadn't had the opportunity to do it again. But I never had any negative things to say for it. Now, only thing I will say that from it is I didn't learn a lot from the instruction part of it. I learned more from the actual being there and just doing it, because the instructor, a lot of times they just looked over your shoulder and was just checking your workout. They may make a comment here and there, but it was never like the instructor trying to actually tell you, oh, you need to do this to fix that or do that and that. It was just, you just sit there and you just do. That's most of the experiences I had with figure drawing classes or figure drawing in general.
Well, I mean, I was very, very lucky in that, I've mentioned many times Carl Ganas, the instructor I studied with, and he still teaches online. If you ever, that's the other thing, is if you ever can't get to a place, he teaches online. His classes are very reasonably priced, and it's like he does like a couple of nights a week where he does like short pose, long pose, a class on costume and drapery. He has a class just on heads, hands, and feet. That's it. And like all those things, he does that. Like he does them on Zoom, so you can just get in there and you get to work. I mean, it's not as good as working. For me, I do feel the difference in terms of working from a real life model versus drawing on the screen. But the quality of instruction that you get from him makes up for what you may lose by drawing from a monitor. But yeah, I mean, I definitely, I feel like I didn't learn, even though I had figure drawing when I was in college, I don't feel like I really started learning how to really draw until I began studying with him.
Okay.
So, but just for me, it's just, I was thinking about the fact that like everyone seems to struggle with the I want to be better issue. We all struggle with it.
Right.
But for me, that simple activity of working from a model on a weekly basis, that was the turning point when I genuinely saw that I started to improve. And I began that journey probably like I began that journey before I even published my first graphic novel. So we're looking at, 15 plus years ago now that I began that journey. But that was when I started seeing, there's an actual path to getting better. And I'm not saying you guys are resistant, but I see a lot of people resistant to it, and I don't understand why.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I'm resisting it.
Like I feel like
it's time. I'm getting better.
If someone said the only way to become a good artist, I mean, I do believe that you can learn. I believe that it's possible to learn from books and learn from studying on your own. I believe those things are true. But if someone said the only path to becoming a good artist is to go and draw from the figure, like, would that stop you from doing it?
Nah. No, I mean, because I stay drawing the figure all the time. So no. I mean, I don't know. I just think it's like having the time. I'm like, it's when you start getting set in your ways. I don't know. It's just like I said. I'm gonna try to like change some of that, but it's like, but I got other grown up stuff to deal with right now. Like, and I'm trying to get back on track. Like I said, when I actually literally took off. Like I think I told you I had took off for the PTO to do the writing, and then I swear, like it was like I was like, I was in a good mood. I was gonna like try to get out. I was gonna try to knock out the whole story in those 2-3 days, and then my mom's like, the sink not going down, and then I'm like, for like, and then I had to work, it was just, I'm not going into that no more, but like, because it's done, it's fixed now. But it's
like you were trying to, you set aside time to work on your craft, and then like life was life, and
I'm like, I was like, and it just jacked everything up that week because I had to sit around. I mean, I wasn't even getting any sleep that week because I had to basically wait for like these people to show up to my house. So I like, when I should have been sleeping, I'm sitting there waiting hours upon hours for these people because you can't even like set like a date. I mean, you can set a date, but then it's like they'll tell you something like, they won't tell you like, hey, like we'll be there at 7:30 in the morning. They're like, hey, we're gonna be there between 12 and all day, 12 p.m. and all day, meaning that you have to sit up all day. Meaning I'm trying to get rest. You know what I'm saying? And then and when I eventually fall asleep, my mom's like, oh, they at the door. I'm like, oh, so it just wrecked everything. It just wrecked my whole writing week, and I'm just like, okay, well, but even though that happened, I was just coming up with other little stories, like
Mhm.
little things that I think I'm figuring out a pattern how I could go about it, because like now I'm I understand that I could just do a treatment.
Mhm.
Yeah, the new word, right? For me, because I don't write, but like I learned that I could do like like quick little treatments, whatever, and then I could just basically I could make the story based off. I could just create a story off of what I have for the treatment. So like I've got like a lot of little joints like that on the side, and the main story that I really wanted to work on. But it's like, but I'm learning other techniques as far as like I said, doing treatments and outlines and stuff like that to try to make it easier for me. So when it comes time when I want to go ahead and knock it out, I can just knock out the treatment, because I mean I'm working on it. Like
Mhm.
so I mean don't give up on me yet. I'm working on it. So like it's just the life part, that other foolishness, like a part of life that keeps I swear
Yeah,
I
well, you know, you can use it's outside of books. In
right.
addition to books, you can use AI to help you brainstorm or come up
Yeah,
with what you want to do, and that can kickstart the writing process.
I did. I actually had it help me as far as like I said, like the way I use it, I use it as like somebody that's like standing over my shoulder, and like kind of like, I'm like, so what do you think about this, or what, like, so because I don't, like I said, I want to do my work. I want to do, because I mean how because I mean I'm noticing a lot of people are using it, but they like not even like, it's like they're not even like using their own abilities, whatever. I feel like, so with me, it's like I try to, like, I'm sitting there, believe me, I'm writing down everything. Like I'm just bad at like managing and organizing stuff, because I know I wrote some stuff in my phone. I know I sent some stuff to myself in emails and stuff, so I gotta like reorganize and gather all the information back, but yeah, definitely. I definitely use it as a tool, like to try to help, as far as like, like somebody that is like better writer than me. Like I treat it like that. Like it's like if I'm not talking to you, or like talking to like Jeremy, like somebody, like, I use it as like a friend. Like, hey, what do you think about this? So and so, so and so, like, as far as like concepts with how I should go about the story, whatever, something like that, or or doing or getting resources and stuff like that, to help better my story, whatever. So like, yeah, I do it like that. But other than that, all as far as like the writing and stuff, I'm grinding like old school, like, like how, I mean, I want to do the art myself, I mean, it's good to help, but I want people to help me, like real people help me, you know what I'm saying? Give me the choice. Like I don't want to, like, because I mean, I'm telling you, the way AI is now, the way if you tell AI will complete that stuff in like 2 minutes or less, or shorter than that, seconds.
Yeah,
Um,
it still takes some configuring to do, but
yeah,
I feel like this. Whatever tool at this point,
word.
I know what everybody had a different opinion on it, but I feel like whatever tool is going to help you get closer to the finish line. Once you get to that finish line, you can
I got
test it.
that.
You can test it and see if it's something that's even going to work, versus you spending years trying to finish it, drawing it, and doing all of this stuff, and then you find out it don't even work.
Well,
So I
I
figure like
mean, look, I rather, if like if I'd rather ask you, because I mean you have a lot of opinions about a lot of stuff. So my thing is like, I'll ask you, or I'll ask Jeremy, or I'll ask somebody else that I know that's doing, like, other. I mean I can ask the AI that, but I mean, like I said, I use it bare, like a minimum, like, because I know the power. I sat here one day and just like I was like, okay, create a concept of, like, black uh um beings, black beings from outer space, whatever, coming from a galaxy far, far away, whatever, like, I don't know, 9 feet tall, this and that, whatever. And it's like, matter of seconds, it was like boom. And then I was like, and I was just like, well, I don't want exactly that. How about you add, like, I don't know, some design, something like to like their uniforms and stuff like that. And then it's amazing how quickly it does it, and then, I mean, I still like learning, you know what I'm saying? About, I mean, I guess we are living in an age where you got to use like AI to help out with that. But I still like learning for myself. I still like trying to like search that self for me, because AI could just, it could, once, I'm telling you, it's almost like how I was telling my mom was like, I was like, yo, I remember our old phone numbers and stuff when I was like 6 years old. You know what I'm saying? Like when we was living in our first house, like I mean, yo, it was like I'm like, okay, what where I used to live at was like was it 675-6186. See, I could remember that. That was the phone number that I knew. That was like when I was like in the 5th grade. But I mean, as time goes on, like we use computers so much, like it's like people don't. You can't even. It's like you. Some people just not even using their brain. They just go ahead and hit Google up real quick. And I still. That's why I tend to buy books. I still try to buy things like. That's just me. You know what I'm saying?
Well, Jamie asked a good question, which he said, "What's more important to you, the destination or the journey?" For myself, I will say the journey. And
right?
And here's the thing: I've always said, first off, I've always said that for me, I'm against the fact that the models were built on stolen artwork. But if you set that aside, for me, I don't have problems with other creators using AI to generate art or to generate writing. It's that doesn't interest me. The act of coming up with the story, the act of mulling over the outline, the act of doing the research is about the only place where I would use AI. And it's more of give me a list of these things
people
of history that I should go look at. That's probably about the most I would use it for. For me, I enjoy the thing that most people, that people get tired of or feel like this is difficult, this is too much work. Those are the things that I enjoy.
Right.
So that's why for me, it's that I don't have problems that other people don't want to do that. It's just not what I want to do.
Life is hard. Things are hard. You know?
I have a different opinion on that. As far as
I know that.
Yeah, we know.
As far as the ethical thing, because I look at it like this: you have people say that they're stealing people artwork and all other stuff, but if you look at it, China, other countries, that lesser developed countries, have been stealing stuff. We've been using. People stealing music. People been stealing stuff forever. People been using cheat techniques forever. Tracing. You had professionals like Rembrandt and other people using tracing techniques. You had a lot of people doing stuff that people will probably at one point call it unethical. They call digital photography, people using Photoshop and all this other stuff before it became the thing, probably unethical, because a lot of people learn traditionally. But the thing is even though it appears that way, you can also use those models to your benefit, because you can actually train your own art on those models. And you can download that into your computer, as long as you got the hardware to do it, and build your own model to render out your stuff the way you want it. Now, my thing is I look at it like this: you always had tools. When I first started learning how to do graphic design, I had to use T-squares and markers and technical markers and all these other rulers and stuff to do graphic design. As soon as I got out of school, everything was on the computer.
Yeah.
How many people got displaced that were doing everything by hand, and those that didn't want to learn how to use a computer? How many people got displaced because of that? They probably had the same opinion a lot of people have as far as AI. You have so many people that didn't want to use digital photography, those traditional photographers that still do traditional photography, that are more into the art side of it, that still do that, just like you have fine artists that don't do anything on the computer digitally. You got people that are staunchly against using computers. One, because some people think that they're evil, and then two, they feel like they're cheating. Because anytime it has something to do with the computer, a lot of people feel like it's cheating. And that's what a lot of people probably have the same opinion of AI. I feel like it's cheating. In addition to that, it's stealing. But the thing is everybody that learned their art style learned from someone else. You didn't learn it.
Okay.
The difference is that AI as a tool does not.
Right.
Let me put it this way. It's one thing if you can already draw well and you're using a tool like Photoshop or any digital painting program to help you do what you can already do, but do it faster. Right. And what I'm saying is that if someone who doesn't have any training in artistic fundamentals starts using that tool, they're claiming that they're an artist,
but they actually have no draftsmanship skills.
Right.
They have no composition skills. They have no color theory skills. They simply ask the thing to pick stuff, and their choices are uninformed. And anything in it that looks good isn't because they have a good eye. It's because the things in it that look good come from the people whose work that was stolen from.
Right.
Yeah, that's a whole nother shadow.
But see, the thing,
Yeah, but that's AI, yo. Like
the argument of that's a whole separate issue. I'm like,
everything
that's
has
kind
a
of
shadowy,
it's kind of the main issue.
Everything has a shadowy area. Everything you could think of has a shadowy area where you got people that claim to be photographers, but they're using some other method. It's same thing with artists. You have people that were stealing other people's art using.
Wait, but hear me out. Hear me out.
Go ahead.
You can have an artist who you say, oh well, they're just copying Rockwell. They're just copying Michelangelo. You know what? If you sit down and you do a painting, if you do a study from a Rockwell, you do a study from a Michelangelo, and you ingest their style, and you're like, I'm painting in their style. So now all the work that Michelangelo I'm getting. All the work that Norman Rockwell got, I'm getting. Guess what? If you can paint well enough to paint like Norman Rockwell and steal his style, that means you're a really good artist.
Really good.
Because the act of being able to recreate another person's style by hand is extremely difficult.
Yeah, but what I'm talking about is you got people out there that actually, like, let's say, for instance, if I created, I'll use an example. You have people that do, when you go to comic conventions, that do fan art. You got people that made a whole career off of doing fan art. That's stealing. You got
well, all right. Here's the thing: stealing someone's intellectual property. First off, that is illegal, and there are people who've gotten shut down for doing that.
Oh yeah, I get that. I'm just saying.
Secondly, if you are selling a bunch of work of IP that you don't own, but you still drew that by hand, whether it is legal or not is one thing, but it still takes skill to reproduce that work. It takes skill. It's not the equivalent of a photocopy machine. Let me put it this way: to sit and hand draw a character that you don't own and sell that, I think has far more artistic merit than to take the picture of the thing and then just put it on a photocopier, make a photocopy, and then sell that photocopy. That's the difference. That's what AI is doing. And also, to go back to the whole thing about artists stealing other people's work, or in China, them using models where they're stealing other people's work, we're saying, here's the thing: just because someone else is doing something that's wrong doesn't make it right. Just because everyone's
I'm not trying to validate it. I'm just trying to say that it's been around forever. Yeah. It's been around for as long as art has been around. There has been always someone doing something that's unethical. And I'm not trying to make that as a valid argument and say that, AI is okay because of that. What I'm trying to say is there's shady parts in everything that's been created, because people can always try to find a way around stuff, especially when you got people with a lot of money that they can put stuff into stuff, whereas they can write other people out of it. What I'm saying is, too, another thing is people put a lot of value in the things that they say they own when they really don't own, because no one really owns a style. You have certain people that came up with styles, but their styles were offshoots of other styles. Now it became more unique to that person, but then you can look at their work and see that they got their style from someone else. And my thing is I look at the value of stuff a little bit different than maybe other people, as far as like this. Even if I created original style to the point where I seen other people doing that style, unless it's trademark, I really can't make a gripe of it and try to go to Congress or whatever and say, this person has stolen my style, when most of my art I didn't really own anyway. So I'm in there complaining about someone using my style in a model when you've done work for hire your entire life. So I look at it a little bit different until you actually create product where, because if you look at it, really traditional artists, a lot of traditional artists don't even use the internet. A lot of them don't even have their stuff on the internet. A lot of them don't even like computers. So again, a lot of the people that complain about the stuff that being stole is the ones that bought into this whole thing about the internet, when a lot of people don't even read the fine print. When you put anything you put online, if you really think about it, is free for everybody to access and use. And if you thought some kind of other way otherwise, then you shouldn't have been online. You wasn't reading those terms of agreement and all the other stuff. So that's on you. But for me, I get the thing that we always want to own something that we create. But the thing is, if you don't go through the proper steps to own it, it's just
you talking about like patent? It's like I don't know, man. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's so nobody owns anything. Like I hear what
well,
I hear what you're saying.
in reality, if you really think about it,
Yeah.
you really don't own anything, because you own
Really?
it to the point where you're alive, but when you die, after a certain point, you don't own it no more. That's why they have things that's in what they call it
Semantics, yo.
after 100
Okay.
years. After 100
Well-
years, what they call it, Jeremy, after 100 years,
All right.
stuff goes into
Public domain.
domain.
Yeah,
Well, here's
I
the
mean,
thing:
true.
if nobody
I mean,
owns anything, why are you even bothering to make an animated series and make an
Right.
entertainment property? Because you
Because-
make it, and then some other company just
Well,
starts
steal it.
making your same thing. You're like, what? You don't own it. You put it online.
Well, the idea is for me to tell my story. That's really all it is.
Okay.
If you can make some money off of it, that's great. But in reality,
Oh,
you only here for a
Mm.
certain amount of time.
No.
You're only here for a certain amount of time. None of us are internally here. So after the time we leave, it's either going to be somebody that, if you have kids, that's going to take that on. Somebody in your family that's going to take that on. And then after they die, who's going to go to? Somebody.
Okay.
That's why
Okay.
most people that's creative, they make more money off of them dead than they are alive.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. All of the musicians and all of the creative people, how much more money that stuff makes now that they're dead than they are alive. A lot of them was poor when they was alive.
I'm about to use Popeye because Popeye's on the domain.
Yeah, but that's my point. My point
I mean,
is,
right. But I
the point
mean,
is,
yeah.
we can work all our lives to own a home, but once we own a home, do we really own it? Once we die, it goes to someone else.
It sounds
Well,
like you're making an argument in favor of a
Right.
system that has already been unjust, to just say, well,
Right.
it's already been
I
unjust.
could
Let's
do
go
that,
all
right.
in on removing ownership and any type of human rights and any type of. It sounds like you're saying the world is broken, so let's just break it more.
Yeah, it's like
No,
if you're
kind of
not,
the
living,
argument.
you're not
I'm
living
just saying the
in,
thing
hey,
is
you're not
that-
living in this house right now. I'm gonna go in there and squat in there for a minute, and then I'm like, it just
Well, do that anyway. But my point I'm trying to make is
Okay.
we own stuff to a point.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
and
I got you.
if you really look at it, even when you're born as property. That's why we got social security numbers and we got all this other stuff. You
he
a
going deep in.
commodity.
Okay, all right. See, but here's
understand.
the thing: you're talking
You're a
about what
commodity.
is, and I'm talking about what should be. And I'm
Right.
Oh
saying
yeah,
the
I know what
world-
should be.
the
but
world
we're
is fundamentally
basically commodity.
broken, and you can look at using
Right.
ill-gotten gains to get more, or you can look at it as let's start making the world more just.
Right.
Oh yeah, but
That's what I'm saying. What
we
world
want
do
the
you
world to
want
be.
live in?
We want the world to be a beautiful place for everybody to live in. Everything's equal, but has it been?
Yeah,
Hmm.
that's what I'm saying. You're saying it's not. You're saying the world is not. I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm saying the world is not. Are we going to keep just doing more, or are we going to
Right,
try
like,
to do
it's-
even better? And what I'm saying is every generation that's come before us has mostly just said, well, we're just going to. Well, actually, that's not true. I'd say that the progress we've had in society is from people who have said, no, we need to do better. No, we need to instill rights for people that are disenfranchised.
Hey, I don't
We
know,
need to
Jeremy.
give people ownership over things.
Jeremy,
I say that the world has. People talk about, well, the world is going to hell right now. It's like I'd say between 1900 and 2000, I'd say the world has improved significantly in terms of civil rights, equality, ownership of property. I'd say that lots of things have gotten better. And I'm saying that this wholesale rejection of that and saying, no, everything belongs to corporations, then corporations will
Right.
piecemeal things out to the individual as they see fit. where the big fish eats everything and then everyone else can just suckle off of their teat. I'd say that's like trying to claw society back to the dark ages, where there's lords who are landowners and then there's just serfs and vassals who just live on their land and get to farm just enough for survival, and all of the rest of it all goes back to the landowners. It's a regression of society.
Yeah, but look
G,
at it like
I
this.
mean, long as you, hey G, like, hey, so I'm all I'm saying to you, G, is like, hey G, you better stay healthy, because hey, when Morningstar goes into the public domain, you see what I'm like? That's just weird. It's just
But
weird to me.
how many people that you know that
That's
really
weird.
have ability, that really have that's really great artists,
Right.
have been really accepted by society until like they're almost dead, or they done died. Very rarely you have artists that are young, they start out young and they're great for a long length of time,
Right.
for let's say 30-40 years, whereas you can look at them and say, oh, that artist, that's somebody that's the pinnacle, that developed their own style. Very few of those. There's very few of those. A lot of them
people still
you
do
don't
it.
know. Huh? What'd you say?
People still do it though.
Yeah, people do art because they love art. But my point is, I'm just saying, just as a creative in general, even you look at the industries that you watch movies or whatever it is, poetry, the theater, whatever. It seems like every area you can look at, the places where you should get paid, where you put in the work, you do really well, and people can see your ability. They don't get anything from it. It's just they get the thing, like Jeremy said, you really like doing the process. You like the process. The process is not paying. And my point is, if the process pay based on all the time you put in, then it would be more viable. It's just the thing is,
have you ever studied the golden age of illustration?
No, I haven't studied that.
Well, you should just, I'll see if I can find a good article on Wikipedia or a good thing on it, because the idea is that back in the mid to early 20th century, like artists, illustrators made were more than just good money. Like people like Leyendecker and Rockwell, they were like millionaires.
Oh,
and
yeah.
My point is that as opposed to talking about how rare it is for an artist to be able to be successful and make a good living off of their work, illustration used to be like a very viable way to make a very, very good living. And people who were cartoonists, that were syndicated cartoonists, that had cartoons in the newspaper, like, guys like Al Capp and the guy who did Hagar the Horrible, these people were millionaires. There was a time when artists who were alive making work were thriving, not just doing well, they were thriving, had thriving careers. So to say that, and what history has done, a lot of times modern people have they try to erase the fact that this existed, because they want to devalue art, because people who don't want to do the work to become better simply say, oh, well, this isn't that valuable. No, there was a time when everyone valued it and it was very successful. And it's more the fact that people don't look at the past and don't research and study it, that they simply say, oh, these things never existed, when they very much did exist.
Yeah, the channel that I shared with you on your Discord, they go through illustrators like that, because I was looking at some of that stuff. And yeah, when I was in school, in college, my illustration class, they was talking about that as well, as far as like how well some of the people got paid. But the thing is when you get out of school, when I got out of school, none of that stuff was available unless you know people. And a lot of that stuff has to deal with a lot, even to this day, the people you know and the people you're around that's going to spend that kind of money on stuff. And again, like you said, a lot of it has been devalued. A lot of the stuff has been done on a computer, even with graphic design and the commercial art in general.
But it sounds like you're in favor of devaluing it even more.
What'd you say?
It sounds like you're
Yeah.
in favor of devaluing
What?
it even more.
No, I'm not saying I'm in favor of it. I'm just looking at the reality of it. You know, the reality of it is when you look at the career that, I mean, even like when I started out doing graphic design, when it was just doing it manually, you can charge more even back there in the 90s than you can now. You might have charged 500 to 1,000 just for doing like a little quick logo, and that wasn't a lot. You can get way more if you had commercial jobs. Now, you know, you got people doing it on Fiverr for like $5 and $10,
Mhm.
and that's something that you might have spent, you know, your whole life learning how to do. And it's the same thing. It's like when you look at these different things that people do online, and it's not even with AI. It's just doing just the stuff on a computer. You can look at the stuff that you've learned maybe over decades and see that it's been devalued to the point where what you were getting paid maybe 20, 30 years ago, you're not getting paid like that for that same stuff anymore. So maybe it made me a little bit more cynical or whatever it is, the term towards
Yeah.
that. It's just the thing is yeah, I mean, I love art and I always love art, but I look at it like, you know, you look at this, you develop an IP, and then it made whatever it's going to make during the time that you're alive, and then if it's owned by a company, or if you own a company and they buy it, then they own it for however long that the company exists till somebody else buys it. And then once it comes public domain, then everybody else can make money off of it. It's like, in reality, what does it what do you own? Same thing with your home.
Right.
You spend 20, 30 years paying for a home, and then once you die, if no one else is going to move in there from your family and take over it and own it or pay taxes, if you don't pay taxes, then the bank or whoever else is going to buy it and they're going to own it, or they're going to take over it.
I mean,
So
what's the end goal? What's the end goal? Like, I mean, I know
the end goal
it's
is
a story card. You can't take it with you. I remember we read a story like that in the high school, something like that.
Yeah, it's just like, you know, it's like the Egyptians. You can't take it with you, even though you bury it with you.
I know they buried it with them, right? I got you.
Yeah, so basically, my idea is you can get your story out, tell your stories while you're here. That for me is the end goal. If you can make some money and live off of it, that's great. But you know, once you're going, you're not gonna know anything about what's going on, because you're not gonna be on this plane of existence anymore. You know, only the people that you left behind is gonna be able to benefit from it, hopefully. I know I want to be all doom and gloom this, because it's supposed to be
I mean, yeah.
And the answer, Jamelins, I hope I pronounced the name, comment earlier.
You just call him Jamie.
Jamie, yeah, he's like destination journey. To me, it's the destination, because a lot of people go on a journey, but a lot of times you don't make it to the destination. So it's like, if you spend your whole life on a journey and you never make it to your destination, then you're on your deathbed like, well, you know, I did what I wanted to do, but I never made it to where I want to make it to. So I want to be able to make it to some of the destinations, so that way, you know, it validates whatever journey that you went on, because you can go on a whole bunch of journeys, but never make it to where you want to make it to.
Right.
I mean, that's how I look at it. It's like, I'd rather at least have completed part of or some of the journeys that I want to take on these different things that I want to do, or I like doing, or I see, versus sitting there and saying, okay, well, I love doing this, I love doing that, and I'm getting better at this, but then I don't ever get anything done.
No, I hear you. But at the same time, like, it's like, this is crazy. I don't know, man. I hear what you're saying. It's like, but that's something that you can't really change. You can't change that. You know, you can't change it. You're going to die. You can't. I mean, if I was, you know, if I could, you know, somehow keep my spirit here, or I don't know, keep some part of me half here while I'm also living in the afterlife. I mean, it's impossible. Like, it's not. You can't do anything about that. It's like, it's futile, man. Like, it's a lost battle. Like,
Yeah,
You
well,
you can't
the
stop.
the
You can't stop life. You know what
to
I'm saying?
respond to what Jamie said, he said it saddens him to hear about someone say about they love art and then immediately in the same breath talk about money. I'm just looking
Right.
at the real world. The real world is like we all if I don't have to worry about bills, paying stuff
Oh, believe me.
or any of the other stuff, I would just sit up and I wouldn't even focus on doing comics. I think I told you this before, Jeremy. I would just sit up and
Mhm.
do fine art.
Right.
I would just
Me
do fine
too.
art. I would do sculpting and fan art. I wouldn't even worry about all of these characters, all this story stuff.
No, I feel
If it had nothing to do with it. But I feel like we all got stories, so that's part of it. So there's some monetary value in it, and then more in the own stuff. But the thing is in reality, for me, if I was doing art like I was when I was a kid, I would just do it just because I like doing it, and it wouldn't have to be anything else tied to it. It's just the thing is through our experiences and through the different things we've done in life, um, it shows that we have to own or feel like we own something, you know. So
Well,
that's
apparently you don't, because it's just going to get scraped by AI.
yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah, it is what it is. I mean,
well, I mean,
It's just like
yeah,
you keep talking about how important it is to own things, and
right.
then when people
well,
that own things have things that they
I'm saying
own taken from them and resold.
that's our idea in a root of our mind that's sold to us when we are really young, that we supposed to own stuff. Just like it's just like the whole idea when we went to college is you got to go to school and get you a good job, and then when you get out of school you don't get a good job. It's like this is all a lie.
Yeah.
It's like I
Yeah.
go to school. You go to school for 20 however many years you get out of school, and it's like, oh, okay, you gotta know somebody, or you gotta be
No, believe me, I found that out
connected.
the hard way. So that's
Yeah, you got to
true.
be
Like,
connected with these people in order to get a good job
get
or
a good
work in the
job.
field
Right. I
forever.
got you.
And then you got people come out of school and they
Get a
get
job.
these really good jobs. And like, well, what the hell is going on? It's like I go to school, get out of school, and then it's like, oh yeah, people. Because I remember when I was going to school, talking about illustrators. Like, yeah, you can
Well,
do illustration. You make like $10,000 on a logo and all the other stuff. It's
no,
like,
but
okay,
see,
where's all of this
again, I mean, to be real, I ain't trying to
type
be a
of
downer, but like that's still that's the issue that we have in America. Like, we still have a lot of things as far as like classism and like caste systems and like stuff that really interferes with people trying to get like I mean it's kind of like you got to create your own thing, and you kind of it's whack, but like that's just how it is. It's like you gotta, if you can create your own thing and you can become successful in that, then so be it. But like I understand what you're saying as far as that. I mean, that was my main issue when I came out of school, which is like, yo, I knew dudes in my school that would like barely even do much of anything. Becoming like the main artist at companies like that, these 3D companies and stuff like that. I'm like, this is crazy. And I'm like, I remember the teachers were like coming down on these dudes like to get their work done. I mean, so I get where you coming from. I understand all that. Like, and I really felt that especially when I ain't never missed a day of work. I ain't never missed a day of school. Like, I mean, that's probably why my body falling apart now, because all the hard work that I put in to try to get these things done. And I'm like, now I'm owing all this student loans. Like, I'm looking for jobs, and they tell me, and when I look for like jobs like online that ask about, like things like Photoshop, it's like they getting all extra particular about, I guess, the type of things. And then when you look at the some of the sites, like, you're like, yo, these people look like they just started this company. Like, and they getting all in particular about this and that, whatever. I'm like, I have these certain amount of skills, but like, it is what it is. It's like, what do you do? So it's like you in the situation like me. I have to pay all back the tuition. Like, I have to just come up with something for me, and hopefully I can find a group of people that appreciate the things that I'm doing, and then I could, hopefully I can excel. You know, that's all. I mean, it's a whole lot of hoping. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it is what it is. I mean, at the same time, while dealing with life,
Well, I mean, a good friend of mine once said that what you need to do is presume victory and then work backwards. So the idea is, first off, you need to decide what is your dream career, not your dream job, but your dream career? What is the thing that you're doing on a daily basis that brings value to you, but also provides value to others? What are you giving people
Right.
in exchange for money? And then once you figure out what that job is, then you say, all right, what are the skills I need to create to do that? And then what do I need to create to demonstrate that thing? Because maybe it's a career where you're just making art and you're selling it direct to consumers. Maybe it's a career where you're making, like, you're doing concept art for games and you're providing a service to companies. But whatever it is, then you decide, all right, what is the thing? Do I need to make a graphic novel showing that I can draw comics because I want to get hired by a comic book company? Do I need to make a game demo, or do I need to make a cinematic and animation trailer, to show, to demo people? Do I need to design my own indie video game that I actually make and sell? And maybe it's something where half of your work is developing indie games, continuing to do and fund it as your own IP, and then half of it is getting hired by companies to do the same thing for them. Whatever. I'm saying,
No, it's I feel like
those are a lot of different questions.
Right.
But the idea is to start with, what is the actual thing you want to be doing on the day-to-day, and then building backwards from there. And that's what I feel like everyone kind of has to do.
I'm starting to, like, I was having like this weird conversation with myself about like I think it really comes down to, like, I mean, I don't know if you want to say like it's like faith or something like that. It's like you gotta kind of, I feel like what I'm starting to feel like it's like I think I have to do what is me, you know what I'm saying? Like what do the things that I care about, and then by me also knowing how to draw, I can implement that stuff, that way of thinking into like my art style, like that's the only way I can,
But I mean, do you see yourself as somebody who is a gallery fine artist? Do you see yourself as an illustrator for clients?
I see myself as this. I see myself as somebody that cares about race relations and stuff like that. I see myself as a person that care about homeless people. I see myself caring about things like that. And if I can add stuff like that, where I can, and I'm also, I like science and stuff like that. So I find myself caring about. And I know it's a lot of people that don't even know half the stuff that I know. Like, I mean, like, for instance, like CRISPR technology. Do people any know about that? CRISPR technology is like, see, that's the weird stuff that I know. You know what I'm saying?
But do you understand what I'm pushing at?
Yeah,
no.
What I'm pushing at is you've listed all the things you care about.
Right.
You haven't listed a job or clients or a purview, a way to actually monetize those
now that's different.
And you haven't described a way to monetize those.
Right. I don't know how to do that.
Okay. All right. Well, that's what I'm saying is forget about the actual craft of drawing and the craft of writing.
All right.
Figure out how you want to interact with the world in a way that provides value to you, but also provides value to others. Right. Figure that out first.
Right.
And then based on that will tell you what skills you need, and it'll tell you what you need to create.
Yeah, I admit that for me.
So there's a lot of deep soul searching that I think has to go on. Not to throw it all on you, because that's the same for me too. I care about figure drawing, as you guys obviously saw from this live stream. I care about writing and creating comic books. I care about illustration. But the question still becomes, I'm spread too thin in terms of I'm pretty focused, and my focus is still spread too thin.
Yeah, I think for me, mine have changed over time, because originally, I'll say when I first started, when we look at what you're saying, my original dream career or dream thing I wanted to do was make comics. That was when back in the late 80s to early 90s. That's what I wanted to do. I want to make comics and tell my story. I still want to do that to a certain degree here. But then as I gotten older and I learned some other stuff, I wanted to do animation. I wanted to tell animated stories. So that was probably in the late 90s to the early 2000s. And then I ran into some roadblocks there. Then I started teaching, and I really love teaching. So I said that for me, I wanted to have my own school, I want to have like a school where it's for like creative people, and even like teach even to this day, teach kids and teach students about art and all that stuff. And then later on, that migrated to integrating technology in there and having like a sort of like what they call now, I forgot the term they use for it now, but where they integrate technology and art. But it'd be like an after school program, and it can be open to older people as well. I want to have like a neighborhood, whatever they call it, after school. You know, they have those storefronts with that. I want to have something like that. That was another thing for me. And then I wanted to do a online free school, totally free. So like a Facebook thing. I had already the idea for it. I wanted to develop it. I never really got into it. And then we started getting more free online schools at that point. Not still at the point I wanted to do it, because I wanted to have it where you can get your whole degree, you get everything for free. And if you want to pay for the fee to get like a certification or a bachelor's or a master's degree in that particular field, all the stuff you learned would have been for free. You just got to pay for the certification. So then the last stage, which is probably more so where I'm at now, is really, I still want to do some of all of that, but I really just want to be, I think before the last stage, I wanted to do a online, so like, I won't say Kickstarter, but it'll take like your original idea, like all the stuff we be talking about, and you put that on this site, similar to like how you had Kickstarter. But the thing is people would put their ideas on there, or I'll have my base of ideas on there. Then the community will pick what movie they want to have made, whether they want to be animated, whether they want to be feature film, whatever. And you take that and you show them the process all the way to a point it's released in theaters. I had a site that I was thinking that would be a cool thing to see. That was another idea that would actually make money. And these are all ideas that I was just referring back to what you're talking about, Jeremy. What idea did you have, the dream thing that you vision that you will see? And the last thing would be that we talked about before, would just be a producer. That's the dream job, not to do storyboard, not to do animation, not to actually be a director, just produce. So like how I think her name is Shonda Rhimes.
Shonda Rhimes.
Shonda Rhimes. She's a showrunner.
Yeah,
like what she does.
She creates Bridgerton. She created Grey's Anatomy. She's done a ton of stuff. How to Get Away with Murder. Well, have you ever like sat down with a producer and just had a conversation with them and asked them about their career and how they got started? Because there's producers in Chicago.
No, I haven't. I know I have a friend that's a director, but I never talked to anybody as a producer.
Talk to your friend. Call your friend who's a producer. Call him this week.
He's not a producer. He's just a director. He does direct.
Well, call him. No, but I'm saying call him and say and ask him, do you know any producers? I want to understand the world of producing. Can you put me in contact with someone so I can pick their brain? Because the thing is what you want to do is more specific than what Herman has described, but also the things you want to do are far larger and far more ambitious than one person can do by themselves. And what that means is, I know that you have collaborated in terms of doing animation for people doing music videos, and you've helped friends out with projects. You need to look at how to build a community and become engaged in working with large groups of organizations, because the things you want to do are not things that a person does by themselves or does with 2 or 3 people. You're talking about large organizations, which means you need to understand how large organizations work in terms of working with creative people. And I know you've worked for corporations doing web development, but in terms of working with creatives for large creative organizations, that's a different world. And in order to do it, you need to meet people that are already involved in that world, contact them, pick their brains, get an understanding of the world and how to do what it is that you want to do within those environments. Because this is much bigger, much, much bigger than just what you do on your own.
Yeah, I agree. It's a lot of it has to do with networking. That's the big issue. Yeah, I
I
think a
mean,
lot
but do you prioritize networking?
So who?
Do you prioritize networking?
No, I never did that. I mean, that's something I think a lot of artists fail at networking and marketing because we stay in our own little cubby hole or whatever.
But
And
you understand that everything that you listed are all large organizational things that require you to. And when I say networking, I don't mean schmoozing and trying to get stuff out of people. I mean simply finding people that do the things you're interested in and talking to them and developing friendships and relationships. People think that networking is this dirty thing or that's manipulative, and it's not. It's going out and meeting people that you have shared visions and interests with and building relationships. That's what networking is.
Yeah, I know that's part of like what Meetup is for too.
Yeah, but everything that you said you want to do requires that. You don't have any small goals. Like everything that you listed is way beyond you doing like animated shorts for 11-second Club.
Yeah, I know.
But what that means that you need to actively decide to, on a regular basis, interact with people in creative organizations, whether it's meetups or mixers or just like there's people, I'm sure there's people who have like a creative brunch, people who work in film, work in animation, have some sort of like a monthly, we meet up for coffee. And like the same way that we talk about what we're working out here online, the same way that we talk about stuff in the Discord, you need to interact with people in the real world that are doing animation or film development. That's the only way to get to the things that you want to do. And I'm not saying it like to chastise you. I'm saying make it a point to start doing that because it's an integral part of your dreams. Honestly, way more integral than the actual act of drawing and animating.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I used to go to a independent filmmakers meetup, and I used to try to be in that. I think that sort of like area back in the early was it early 2000s? Maybe I don't think it was 2010s, probably early 2000s when they first started doing the meetup thing. But yeah, I know I haven't really been a part of the area because the reason why I'm gonna just say this that I feel like I haven't done anything to really be in those circles, to just be hanging around, twiddling my thumbs, watching other people do stuff, and I ain't really doing anything. So I don't really feel like I have nothing to contribute to that conversation. Just be asking them questions, but I ain't doing nothing. So I got to be. Feel like I got to be.
Okay, don't negative self-talk yourself, because the fact that you show up and you're like, I haven't made the thing I want to make yet. I'm here to learn. That's it. That's enough. That's all you need to bring to the table is a desire to learn. Go to those things. Go to those spaces. Go to those rooms. By the way, Herman had to bounce. It was good to see you, Herman. We'll hopefully be able to do. We'll follow up on this again in the future with more deep thoughts. Yeah. But on the creative organizational level, go out there, meet those people, hang with those people. All right, we've been going for a long ass time. It's been like a 2-hour stream. We got to wrap it up here.
Yeah, I know.
All right. So, on that note, again, this was a deep conversation. We got into a lot of stuff. We shared some love. We butted some heads, but it was good times as always. For those of you who enjoy these live streams, like to get additional bonus live streams twice a month, you can become a Patreon subscriber for as little as $2 a month. Head on over to patreon.com/Jeremy. It's patreon.com/GERIMI. If you'd like to get a free digital sketchbook, work in progress animated GIFs, blog posts about what I'm reading, what I'm watching, what's inspiring me creatively, you can sign up for my free newsletter at substack.com/@Jeremy. And if you'd like to purchase physical copies of my comic books, or if you're digitally on Kindle, you can go to amazon.jeremy.vet. They'll forward you to my Amazon author page. You can pick up books like my first graphic novel, Eye of the Gods. It's a standalone psychological thriller about a man cursed with visions he cannot control. You can pick up my most recent project, Morning Star. It's a retelling of Lucifer's fall from heaven as a Western. It's an 8-issue series. Volume 1 contains issues 1 through 4. Volume 2 contains the conclusion, issues 5 through 8. Both have extensive back matter, thumbnails, page layout, script excerpts, and more. Basically show you how I put the entire book together. And if you go to the homepage of my YouTube channel, scroll down to the flip throughs playlist. You can see flip throughs of all those books, see what's inside them before you pick them up. And you can also pick up my art book, Wound, The Art of Jeremy Burley, Volume 1. All right, guys, thank you so much for hanging out. I appreciate the great, deep, and thorough conversation. I know there were a lot of comments in the chat. We weren't able to get to all of them, but I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. Love you guys. That's it for now. Go be creative.